Hey, David, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to talk via Zoom in front of your class, and more importantly, let you know how much I appreciate your friendship. But for those of you watching this, your professor, David Blackledge, is one of the greatest guys in the world, one of the most well-connected and best networkers out there. And my really biggest piece of advice would be to hold on to that relationship. And as you leave this class and graduate, I would hang on to that relationship. You never know down the road. But today, David has asked me to come and talk to you a little bit about real estate. So I am going to share my screen right now with everybody, and we're going to get rocking and rolling for the next few minutes on what real estate is. But a little bit about me, because obviously you guys don't know me. I'm a former radio talk show host, spent a great deal of time in radio talking about real estate, talking about politics, talking about business. Currently a podcast host. And my biggest responsibility right now is I'm a real estate wealth manager, and that's what we're going to be talking about. But more importantly, my greatest passion is I love burgers. And if you love burgers, just go to boysburgerclub.com, where we are changing the world one bun at a time. First question, and this is the first question that I ask any and every client when I sit down with them. Do you like money? And if you're sitting in this classroom and you do not like money, I would just go ahead and plug your ears, because you're not going to enjoy the rest of the conversation. Um, I have the co-leader of a team called the Real Estate 401k Group out of West USA Realty. We focus on helping people build a legacy of wealth in real estate. And that really is our mission statement, is to help our clients build a legacy of wealth through real estate. And whether somebody has never owned a home or whether somebody's owned a variety of homes, our mission is to help everyone see real estate through the prism of how do I build wealth? Because for a lot of people, they don't take into consideration of what retirement looks like, what is going to happen at the end of the road. And what we do is we help people use real estate, leverage real estate to fund their retirement. So what does that mean? And how important is it? And is it something that is real? 90%, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, 90% of millionaires in the United States are invested in real estate, meaning that if you want to become wealthy and you want to become a millionaire or you want to become a billionaire or whatever the case is, understand that most people that have accumulated wealth over the years are invested in real estate, because real estate, as you will see, is one of the greatest vehicles in which to build wealth. So what if I told you that you could buy over the next 10 years $2.25 million worth of real estate using about $74,750 in cash? This is imperative, because if you're into Bitcoin, you're into stocks, you're into other types of real estate, if you were to buy $2.25 million worth of Bitcoin, you would have to come up with $2.25 million worth of cash in order to acquire that Bitcoin. The greatest thing about real estate, it's all about leverage. It's all about using money wisely. And so in real estate, you can accumulate $2.25 million worth of real estate using only $74,750 cash. What if I told you in 40 years' time that you could retire with that $2.25 million in almost liquid cash assets, and realizing making anywhere between $12,000 to $15,000 per month just in passive income? What if I told you you could take control now of your financial future, and you can do it through real estate? This is what we do as real estate wealth managers. The first thing that you have to understand is how people make money in real estate. Whether your parents have owned real estate, have sold real estate, maybe many of them had lost money and lost real estate in the big real estate market crash of 2007 to 2009. The average person doesn't understand how money works in real estate and how you make money in real estate. The average person thinks, if I buy a home for $300,000 and I sell it in 5 years' time for $350,000, we call that appreciation. And I have now made $50,000 on that home. But that is not where it's left. So For the purpose of today's exercise, we're gonna use an example of a $350,000 home. So let's say when you graduate college and you get your first job and you're getting ready to buy your first house. Let's say that first house is list price was $350,000. Now we know that if you bought that home hypothetically today, we are expecting that home to appreciate by 25% over the next 5 years. That meaning it's going to go up nearly 25% in the next 5 years. So, and let's just say for our example, you hang on to that home for 30 years time and it never goes up above that 25%, you will have made, just in that 5 year period, you'll have made $87,500 in profit. Now, remember, you only invested $12,250 to buy that cash home, because what we're going to do is your first loan program is going to be called something an FHA loan, and it's going to require you to put about 3.5% down. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you our real estate 401k program on how you accumulate all of these homes. But for this purpose and for this example, your first home costs $350,000. You've made $87,500 in profit, and you've only used $12,250 in cash. Remember, if you were going to go out today and buy $350,000 worth of Bitcoin, you've got to come up with $350,000. So appreciation is the first way we make money in real estate. Number two, we call it the buy down principle, or a real estate 401k program. When you take out a $350,000 loan, you will make 360 mortgage payments through the life of the loan. Every time that you make a mortgage payment, you're going to be buying down that principal. If it was a $350,000 loan, every time you make a payment, that $350,000 number is going to continue to decrease, because every mortgage payment that you will make has principal and interest, and every payment made subtracts from the principal. So once that loan is paid off, and this is the beauty of it, because you have to have a place to live, and you're going to eventually want to buy a home. And we call this our forced savings program, or a real estate 401k program. Every time you make a mortgage payment, you are buying off that principal. So in 30 years' time, if you made all 360 mortgage payments, you now own that home free and clear. And let's just say, hypothetically, it never went up in value. You now have $350,000 worth of equity. When you rent, and we understand that there's a time and a place to rent, and you get to a certain place in life where you can afford to buy a home. But when you rent, you pay into your landlord's real estate 401k program. And we're going to talk about turning your homes into rental properties, because the moment that you have a tenant renting from you, they are now buying down your principal. And it's one of the greatest ways that we make money in real estate. The third way is what we call positive cash flow. So if you buy a $350,000 home and we got you that FHA program, let's just assume that your mortgage payment was going to be $2,500. One of the things that we do at the Real Estate 401k group is we try to talk people out of selling your home. If you've bought a home, you've lived in it for a couple of years, and you're going to go buy home number two, keep home number one, put a renter in there, and let them buy down your principal. But let's just say for this exercise, your mortgage payment's $2,500. And let's say that you're going to make, $3,000 a month in rent. Obviously your positive cash flow or your passive income position would be $500 a month. Now, assuming that rent never went up over the next 28 years, let's say you've lived in the home for 2 years. Now you got a renter in there. That $500 over that 28-year period will equal to about $168,000. That is a lot of money. I understand for a lot of people, maybe $500 a month isn't the end of the world, or it's not the greatest amount of money, but if you have a renter in there, it just accumulates over time, and now we're up to $168,000. Now, I am not a CPA or an accountant, but one of the things that you will learn when you go out and buy your first home, the interest, because you're going to pay interest on that mortgage, the interest portion of your mortgage payment can be tax deductible. Now, I say can be tax deductible because we explain and we advise all of our clients to talk to our accountant and understand their tax positions and how they can leverage these tax deductions. But let's just say at a 6% interest rate, let's say that was your interest rate, your estimated monthly payment would be approximately $2,500. Over the next 30 years, that's up to $242,882 of interest over the life of the loan. That is a potential in tax deductions over $242,000. So those are the four ways that we make money in real estate. It's not just about appreciation. So keep in mind, remember, we bought a $350,000 home. So what's at stake over the life of the loan? Let's just say, for conservative purposes, you've made $87,500 in appreciation. You have bought down your principal. Your renters have bought down your principal. Now you have $350,000 worth of equity. Let's say you did realize that $168,000 in positive cash flow. That $350,000 home in a 30-year period could make you about $605,500. Now, does it seem like a lot of money? To me, it seems like a tremendous amount of money, considering that I only used $12,250 to buy that house. That is how leverage works. That's how real estate works. And that's how money works in real estate. And going back to that is why so many of the wealthiest people and the millionaires in this country are invested in real estate, because the rate of return is so great compared to what you have to invest into any particular property at any particular time. So the first portion is understanding how we make money in real estate. The second thing that we do is we show people what we call our real estate 401k plan. This is how we help people, especially first-time home buyers, understand again how money works, understand how real estate works, and understand how you could possibly purchase 6 homes in a 10-year period, again, using under $100,000 cash. So going back to our example, when you take a look at now, for our example, we said a $350,000 home. A first-time FHA home program is going to require 3.5% down, and we've already talked about it. Now that's going to be $12,250. Let's just say you're in a position in life that you are willing to and can move every 2 years. You can set yourself up for retirement, because at the 2-year period, we're going to encourage you now. It's time to go looking for home number 2. How are you doing on savings? And we're going to turn home number 1 into a rental property. Now we're going to go out and buy home number 2. Let's say home number 2 costs $400,000. Now, because, and we can get into the details later, because you've already used your FHA loan, your second loan is going to be what's called a conventional loan. You're going to be required to put 5% down. And you only have to put 5% down because you're planning on moving into this home. So that would be $20,000. Now, let's say two more years down the road, you're going to turn that into a rental property. So now home number 3, let's say it's $400,000. It's going to take the same $20,000. We rinse and repeat 6 times over a 10-year period till we get to year 10. We're going to buy home number 5. And let's say that home is $550,000. 5% down is going to be $27,000. Now, what we haven't explained to you, and these are going to be for tax strategy purposes, and I don't have enough time to get into it, but at some point in the first 5 years, we're going to take your very first home, home number 1, and we're going to sell it. And let's just say over that 5-year period, we assume that you're going to make about $50,000 in profit, because that would be about right for what's happening into our real estate market. So now at the end of 10 years, you own 5 homes. 4 of them have renters in them, and 1 of them is your primary residence. So what does that look like 40 years from today? However old you are, if you're 20 years old. So what does it look like when you're 60 years old, when you're thinking about retiring and you have grandkids? I know that is the scariest thing. I'm pretty much sure that nobody in here has even thought about what it would look like to have grandkids one day. I'm sure Professor Blackledge looks at all of you because he is old enough to be your grandparent. And so I'm sure he looks at you like your grandkids. But it is something to consider as we plan for the future. So in 40 years' time, if you follow this program, you will have purchased $2.25 million worth of real estate. Your cash out of pocket was $124,750. But remember, we sold home number one, and we're going to put that $50,000 into future real estate properties. And so when you deduct that $50,000, you've now invested $74,750. Here's the most powerful thing about it. In 40 years' time, every single one of these homes are paid off. You own them free and clear. And that's why we say they're almost liquid cash assets, because you would have to sell them in order to take that money out. But that is $2.25 million in equity that you would possess, and you've only used $74,750. Again, that is leverage. If you want to go out and buy $2.25 million worth of Bitcoin, I think you all know the answer to the question about how much cash you need to have. And as you have four rental properties and rent prices continue to go up, you could possibly be sitting on a position where you're earning $12,000 to $15,000 a month in positive cash flow. Now, I don't know whether you will be able to retire on that, but I will tell you this. Having $2.25 million worth of almost cash assets and getting $12,000 to $15,000 a month in cash through my rental properties, that is a great foundation for my retirement. And be frank, I could do really, really well on that. So we've covered the four ways that we make money in real estate. We've covered our very unique and proprietary real estate 401k plan. And so with that, we would love to continue the conversation with you. We have a podcast called the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want to scan this QR code, it's a great podcast to learn more about real estate, learn more about investing in real estate and buying homes in the Phoenix area and buying your first home and so forth. So we encourage you to scan this QR code, be part of the podcast. And then lastly, we've put together a very special book. We call it Your Personal Guide to Buying a Home. It's an actual physical book. We also have an ebook version, but this just helps people understand the home buying process from A to Z. So when that time comes for you to actually buy your first home, this would guide you through that process of everything that you need to know that goes into that process. So if you'd like to get a free copy of that, I've got my email address and I've got my phone number on here. And then I know David said he was going to reach out to you. If any of you would like more information, we might be able to put something together where we can do some Q&A and we can really get into how to build wealth in real estate. Professor Blackledge, I once again thank you for this opportunity, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you for listening in.